making major mistakes when it comes to relocating to a different country during the World War III conflict. And just like my man Fearless just said, you want to make sure that you go to a country, if you're going to be going to a country that is resourceful. For example, one of the things I enjoy about South America, most of South America is self-sufficient. If it was cut off from the rest of the world, Brazil could still be mainly Brazil. Paraguay could still take care of itself as a cattle and ranch area of the continent. So can Argentina. Chile is still self-sufficient. The Chileans and Ecuadorians, Colombians, we're sitting on the oil, as well as Venezuela is sitting on the oil, as well as the oil in Suriname and Guyana. So this continent is self-sufficient for the most part. That's why after World War II, many of the Nazis came over to South America, because they knew that if anything happened, if they were pushed up against a wall, which they were, many of the soldiers, if you're going to a country, you have nothing except the boots on your feet, you can make it. And that's South America. And that's why they chose South America as the continent instead of going to other parts of Europe or going to Australia or New Zealand. They realized that there's a whole continent that's self-sufficient. So that's one of the major reasons why I chose this country, because I knew that it was self-sufficient. If anything ever happened, this country, as well as the rest of these other 11 countries in South America, could take care of themselves.
So do you believe that countries with strong civil defense systems provide a safer environment during a conflict?
No.
Why is that?
No, because if it's going to go that route, a lot of times, as you guys will know, the way that the world is set up right now, many of the attacks are going to happen from within. They're going to be the for example, let's just talk about our home America, for example. It's not going to be a plane or a missile coming from the outside. A lot of it is going to be panic. That's going to destroy America, just like during COVID, or just like in Florida during hurricane season. Second thing that's going to destroy America, all the anti-American groups that are already in the United States that have been waiting for an opportunity like this. So a lot of attacks on America is not going to come from the outside. It's just groups that are already established on the inside from in various different states and various different locations. They're going to cause America to fall into the place that is going to fall off into. The next thing is, when we sit back and we often think of that, okay, if we get our military strong enough, but most of us already know that in World War III, the number one attack is going to be cyber. We're going to shut your banks down. We're going to shut down your water system. We're going to shut down your food supply, your shipping that's coming into the country. You're going to think that the boat is going to be going this way, but we're going to impact the boat's GPS and navigating system. So now it's veering off to another location to where you could have swore your ship was going. That's what Americans are. Americans sit back and we often think of our military might as, we're the fiercest, we're the strongest, we've got the most artillery, but that can only go so far during cyber war. The other thing that we have to take in consideration that's going on right now, they are training drones to do things that soldiers once would do. As far as spy work, as far as surveying, there's a camera on every corner now in the United States, as well as other countries. So the surveillance war is going to take place as well. So it's not what people think when they're saying, okay, there's going to be bombs dropped all over the place. I'm like Fearless. I think that they're not going to go for that first. I think all countries going to say this is our last resort, just like America, where Hiroshima and Nagasaki, that was a last resort. They didn't want to use that first, but hey, listen, they had a war that they want to bring to an end abruptly, and that's what the last resort that they use. But at the end of the day, go ahead.
No, what I was about to say about the cyber attacks, don't you think that I've heard conservatives, mainly conservatives like Trump, say that China sent things like TikTok to infiltrate and cause unrest within the country itself? Do you think that was stuff like that was a start of the attack?
Oh yeah. No. I really believe it, when you said the start, I think it's part of the attack. But I think that the propaganda game has been going on for years all the way back to World War One and World War II, before the book propaganda came out, to how to program the everyday citizen in a particular country. Yeah. So we're fast forward 80, 90, 100 years almost, you get a chance to see that it still works propaganda. Like we've already proven that the Russians had been involved by way of cyber involved in our 2016 election. We already proved that. And so if they can impact our election, what more could they impact? Just like if you go to TikTok, the same TikTok in China, they're showing their kids winning awards and education and how to start businesses. But then when you come to our TikTok, the exact same company, it's showing you how to do the latest dances. So they don't have to come at you to attack. Sometimes all they have to do is just keep information from you, keep you from believing in yourself as a country, like they do with their own version of TikTok.
And imagine this, Austin, just the propaganda. United States is great for diversity, except when that diversity doesn't work. So when they start sending things that say the blacks this, the Mexicans this, the whites this, we already in a boiling point where we distrust each other. Now all you need to do is fuel the flame. You fuel that flame and you keep doing it, they can destroy us from within before they got to get us without.
Yeah, easy. I mean, the same thing happened during the pandemic. It was a mini version of what could happen in the world during World War III.
Exactly.
Most of American states, all 50 states, were in a panic. One didn't know what to shut down, or the other one didn't know to stay open. You had governors versus governors. Remember, Trump was going against and had an ongoing battle with the female governor of Michigan. You didn't have enough. New York didn't have enough medical machines to keep people alive. I forget what the name of the machine is, but to keep people alive. But then you had states that didn't even need the machines, that were hoarding them and keeping New Yorkers as well as people in LA from having these machines and keeping people alive. So, like I said, it's not going to be we need to drop something on America. All we have to do is convince Americans to destroy each other like they did during the pandemic. You guys, the reason why America had so many, actually led the way when it came to the amount of deaths that we had, because we had mass confusion going on for months. We didn't know who to trust. We got a president that's telling us all you got to do is drink clear a cleaning solution and you get rid of COVID. At the same time, they're telling us you're locked in your houses, but yet many people couldn't even work in their homes because I'm a plumber. How am I still locked in my house? I don't work online. And so it was such a panic. People panicking over food. They're panicking over toilet paper. Out of all things, the last thing I would be thinking about is toilet paper.
And milk.
Exactly.
And all these other things. So it's easy to see the results of propaganda once you put Americans in all 50. We're the states of America. It's been a long time since we've been united.
Wow. That's a good line. I'm gonna remember that one for sure.
It's true.
So what are the risks associated with military drafts during times of global conflict for somebody like me? Obviously, I would be at risk of being drafted. How would that process go, you think?
Let me ask you, Austin, you shoot guns, you've been in survival, you know how to start a fire, you've been able to eat out of packs. Those are things that most of today's, back in the 1950s, they used to have the Boy Scouts and they used to go out and they used to survey the land. You go to a farm, with my family every summer, they dropped you off on the farm and that's just what you did for the summer. You learned how to do it. Have you been any of that? Shooting a gun, any survival techniques? So they're going to try to teach you in 6 weeks what somebody else learned their entire life. They've been doing all their life. That's where the issue comes in. And one, you're going to be like, man, I don't know how to do this. I don't want to be the worst soldier is the one who doesn't want to be a soldier, who doesn't want to be on the front line. And that'll be someone like you where you're like, man, I didn't volunteer for this. This isn't what I want to do. So for someone like you in this new generation, it's going to be very difficult to make that adjustment.
I think drafting itself, the modern day man. Remember during the time period of the World War I, World War II drafts, Americans were extremely patriotic. I'm giving my life for my country. During 9/11, Americans were extremely patriotic because it happened on our own soil. Let's protect our land. But when you're telling American young men who know nothing about the country that you're sending them to in this day and age of technology, of this age of where men and women are saying you can't call me male or female, call me they or them or us or him, it's going to be hard to even convince those that will say, I would rather do the 2 years in jail.
Yeah.
I would rather, back in the day, they didn't feel like they were wearing their options because it was patriotic during World War I and World War II. But right now, if a young man like yourself, Austin, and they said you got a choice, go to war, and you don't know nothing about being a soldier, you didn't ask to be a soldier, and you may potentially lose your life up in the hundreds of thousands, or go to jail for 3 years. There are going to be a lot of young men saying, yeah, I'll take that bit. I've been doing illegal stuff anyway. I'm used to going to jail. And they will go to jail instead of going off to war. So there are going to be a lot of drafters that are going to buck the system. The second thing that's going to make a lot of guys going to buck the system of the draft, because women sat back and said that they want equal rights. Now it's time to go out there and have an equal fight. Women want to run and say, I want to be in the military. Well, let's see how much you want to be in the military. Not just a couple hundred of y'all, but some real, before it was unheard of having a massive amount of women in the military and trained for battle. Now women have fought for these equal rights. Let's see how equal you want to take it. So this is another thing that's going to come